The final meal wasn't just a tradition. It was a turning point that redefined everything his followers thought they understood. In a quiet upper room surrounded by those closest to him, Jesus spoke words that would echo far beyond that night, words they didn't fully understand until it was too late. And hidden within that sacred moment was both the deepest love and the shadow of betrayal sitting at the same table. It began with preparation. The Feast of Unleavened Bread had arrived, the time when every Jewish family remembered deliverance, the night their ancestors were freed from Egypt. It was a sacred tradition, full of meaning, full of memory. The disciples approached Jesus with a simple question: "Where do you want us to go and prepare for you to eat the Passover?" It sounded ordinary, routine. But nothing about this night would be ordinary. Jesus gave them instructions that must have seemed unusual. "Go into the city," he said, "and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him." That alone was strange. In that culture, men rarely carried water jars. That was typically a woman's task. But this detail was intentional. A sign, a quiet direction hidden in plain sight. Say to the owner of the house he enters, the teacher asks, "Where is my guest room, where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?" Everything had already been prepared, every detail arranged, as if Jesus wasn't just participating in the moment, but guiding it. They went into the city just as he said, and everything unfolded exactly the way he described. A large upper room, furnished, ready, waiting. There's something powerful about that. Before the chaos, before the suffering, before the cross, Jesus made sure there was a place for gathering, a place for sharing, a place where something eternal would begin. As evening came, Jesus arrived with the 12. They reclined at the table together, sharing the meal. From the outside, it might have looked like any other Passover. Bread, wine, voices. But inside that room, something deeper was happening. Something none of them fully grasped yet. Then, in the middle of the meal, Jesus said something that changed the atmosphere instantly. "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me, one who is eating with me." Silence, confusion, a heaviness settled over the room. This wasn't an accusation thrown at strangers. This was spoken to those closest to him, to those who had walked with him, listened to him, trusted him. One by one, they began to ask, "Surely you don't mean me?" There's something deeply human in that question, a mixture of fear, doubt, and self-reflection. Because in that moment, none of them felt certain enough to say, "It's not me." Jesus didn't expose the name publicly. He didn't point a finger. Instead, he said, "It is one of the 12, one who dips bread into the bowl with me." Even in revealing the truth, there was restraint. Grace. "The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him," he continued. "But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born." The weight of those words is hard to grasp. Betrayal wasn't just an action. It was a choice with eternal consequences. And yet, even knowing this, Jesus continued the meal. He didn't stop it. He didn't walk away. Instead, he did something no one expected. He took bread. Simple. Ordinary. The kind of bread they had eaten countless times before. He gave thanks. Then he broke it, and he gave it to them, saying, "Take it, this is my body." Body, not symbol, not metaphor to them in that moment. They didn't fully understand yet, but something sacred was being established, something that would outlast generations. Then he took a cup. He gave thanks again, and offered it to them. They all drank from it. "This is my blood of the covenant," he said, "which is poured out for many." Blood. Covenant, words filled with deep meaning in their tradition. But now they were being redefined, not through sacrifice in a temple, but through him, through his life, through what was about to happen. "Truly I tell you," Jesus added, "I will not drink again from the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new in the kingdom of God." There was a future in his words, a promise beyond the suffering, a reminder that this wasn't the end, even if it felt like it would be. And then something almost easy to overlook. They sang a hymn, in the middle of tension, in the shadow of betrayal. With the weight of what was coming, they sang. There's something deeply powerful about that. Worship didn't stop because circumstances were dark. It continued. Faith didn't pause because fear was near. It remained. Then they left the room, heading toward the Mount of Olives, toward the next chapter, toward the cross. But that moment, that meal, stayed behind as something more than memory. It became a foundation, a reminder. a calling. Because the Last Supper wasn't just about what Jesus said, it was about what he gave. He gave himself fully, without holding back. Even knowing betrayal sat at the table, even knowing denial would follow, even knowing suffering was ahead. He still broke the bread, he still shared the cup. That kind of love is hard to understand, because it's not based on worthiness, it's not based on loyalty, it's not based on perfect faith, it's given anyway. And that's what makes it so powerful. This moment invites us to look deeper, because we are not just observers of that table. In many ways, we are invited to sit at it, to receive what he offered, to remember what it cost, and to ask ourselves difficult questions. What does it mean to truly take part in what Jesus gave? Is it just a ritual, a habit, something we do without thinking? Or is it something alive, something that transforms the way we live? Because when Jesus said, "This is my body, this is my blood," he wasn't just creating a tradition. He was revealing a truth. That real love gives, that real sacrifice costs, and that real faith remembers. There's also something else in that room we can't ignore. Betrayal didn't come from outside. It came from within, from someone who sat close, someone who shared the same bread. That's a hard truth, because it reminds us that being near Jesus is not the same as being committed to him, that we can be surrounded by faith and still struggle with our own hearts, that we can hear truth and still choose differently. But even then, Jesus didn't withhold himself. He still gave. And maybe that's one of the most powerful lessons of all. That his love is not limited by our failures. That his grace reaches even into the moments where we fall short. That his invitation still stands, to come, to receive, to remember. The bread is still broken, the cup is still offered, and the question remains the same. Will we take it and understand what it means, or will we let it pass, like just another moment? Because that night wasn't just about what happened then, it's about what still happens now. Every time we choose faith over fear, every time we choose love over self-interest, every time we remember that what Jesus gave was everything. The upper room is no longer there, the table is gone, the voices have faded, but the meaning remains, alive, present, calling us back. Not just to remember, but to respond. To live in a way that reflects what we've received, to carry that love into a world that desperately needs it. Because the story didn't end with the meal. It continued through the cross, through the resurrection, through every life changed by what happened in that room. And now, it continues through us, through the choices we make, through the faith we hold, through the way we love others. The Last Supper wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something eternal, a covenant, a connection, a calling. And today, that invitation is still open, to sit at the table, to receive the gift, to understand the cost, and to live differently because of it. Thank you for watching this video. If this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to like, follow the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it today.